Thank you very much for joining us today. As I said, I'll use the mic for the recording only. But yeah, the reason why you're here most likely is because you have a brilliant mobile offering. The reason I'm here, me and Eleanora are here, is because having a brilliant mobile offering is not always enough, right? It's like your teams, we need to make sure that mobile offering is easily accessible from any channel with a smooth customer journey to the right in-app content. So, my name is Mirko. I'm the director for Northern EMEA at Branch, and obviously I'm very happy to be with you guys here today in our small intimate round. What we've done for today is we've put together a workshop with a simple but ambitious aim to help you leverage your organic and owned channels so that you can achieve your goals. I don't know if you've heard of Branch before, but we're basically working with 75,000 apps, and we help those apps to create a better user experience into the right in-app content from any channel. So for today, the way how we want to achieve our ambitious goal is by basically walking through what we call a playbook, a 100% organic, battle-tested playbook, and it consists of mainly 5 plays that we'll be walking through. We'll start with some interesting statistics up front, and I will ask you a few questions as we go along, and then we'll dive right into the plays. Does that sound good? Yeah? Great, let's do it. So the first thing that we wanted to ask you is basically about the value of an app user in your organization. So if you think about it, how much more valuable do you think an app user is in your organization versus a, for example, mobile web user? Normally we would run through these, and I'll ask you to raise your hand, but because it's just us, maybe we can just talk about it. Yeah, do you want to, anyone's got any thoughts on that? Christina, Karina?
So for us, I think mobile users are not the first priority.
Right.
Mainly because it's a high customer churn, and we are more keen to attract users who purchase through the web, not in the apps. So I would say it's like on the medium side and on the priority for us.
Okay, interesting. So medium priority, you would say. Okay, great. Christina?
Unfortunately, I don't know for sure because we don't have an analytics tool in place. But
Not yet.
Yes, not yet. But I guess it's like A or B. I'm sure it's also because of push notifications and use it as second screen with the TV channel. I'm sure it's around A or B.
Excellent. Do you want to add anything to it?
I would say I'm not really sure about for our current site because I think we focus more on like web users, so maybe I would say web more than app.
Okay, interesting. That's great. No, thank you for the input here. As you've guessed, we've got some stats on this. This is specifically for the e-commerce industry. And what we've got here is basically an analysis on average order value. So for e-commerce specifically, on average, we see it's about 40% higher, the average order value in-app versus mobile web. And we also see that the likelihood of conversions in the app is 3 times as high than on the mobile web. So those are 2 key statistics that we look at when it comes to conversion. The other angle that we are going to look at is growth. And also retention, but we'll look at that in a minute. So, it's not a secret, you guys know it very well, that e-commerce has been growing over the years. And the interesting fact about that is that of that e-commerce growth, which was also powered by COVID and all of the influences that we've been dealing with over the last couple of months, is that mobile makes up more than 50% of that traffic. And if we break that mobile traffic down, we actually see that 90% of the time that users use their mobile phone, it is like that time is spent in the app. So 90% in the app, 10% roughly on the mobile browser. So we can see that mobile is key. but it's also part of a very, very difficult ecosystem, where we've got different operating systems, different channels, we've got different regulations specifically now that make it very, very difficult to navigate. So it's still key, but it's hard to navigate. And this is a very interesting stat to look at. This is data only for the US, but I feel it's very, very representative from a global perspective, because it basically shows each bar is the time that a user spends on their phone, and the red part of the bar is the time that that user spends specifically in apps. And the black part is the mobile web. So it just shows the interesting, again, time spent app versus mobile web to further give you some data points on the value of mobile web versus app users. Now, the second thing that I wanted to ask you about is when we look at these app users and we break them down, they're actually not all created equal. The way how we acquire these app users has a big, big influence on the whole lifetime value. And the big question is, what are your thoughts on this in your organization? Do you think that organically acquired users are more valuable or less valuable than a user that is acquired through a paid marketing campaign? Any thoughts on that?
I think organically acquired users just shows longer commitment. For example, we offer subscription plans, and for us it shows that, okay, if we aim to attract some of our users who, for example, find app by themselves, and it might show that, yeah, they will stay for longer for us.
Very good point, actually. I think we can support that with some data points, just giving something away there. Christina?
Yeah, I agree. It's an organically acquired user is more valuable, spends more, and comes back more frequently.
Perfect. Thank you. And is it Pia? Pia, excellent.
Well, working in SEO, I definitely think that acquiring users organically is way more sustainable. I think you can build a very solid foundation that will last for you in the long term. And I think I always believe more in that than just quick wins. I always prefer that more over that. So yeah, definitely.
Excellent. It sounds like I don't even need to show you the stats that we've got around this, because you already have it nailed. So what we see around this is that actually an organically acquired user is 4.4 times more likely to purchase than somebody who comes in through a paid campaign. And the reason for that is quite simple. And I think, I'm basically just citing you here, Pierre, Karina, and Christina. You all said it. An organically acquired user has a much, much higher intent to purchase. That's why we see that difference in number. But we don't just want to look at the numbers that talk about the conversion, like the likelihood of conversion in the app. We also want to look at, okay, how does that look like over time? That's very interesting, because when we look at LTV, we don't just look at average order value, how likely are they convert, how likely are they to come back? How many times are they actually going to further engage with our app offering? And this is a really cool analysis that we've done. So on the x-axis, you basically see time. This is over 1 month since the acquisition of the user. On the y-axis, you've got the probability, basically the percentage of somebody churning or leaving. And then each bar is a specific channel. So the red bar that you see on the left is the web bar, so web acquisition. The middle banner is referrals. And the third one is paid. So that's a paid acquisition customer. And you can see here that somebody who has been acquired through a web acquisition, which is one of the plays that we're going to look at in a minute, that they're much, much more likely to stay around as a customer. They're much, much more loyal. It is followed by referral. So somebody who uses a referral inside the app. So we're talking about a referral feature here and not a mouth-to-mouth kind of referral. And then interestingly, if you look at paid acquisition, just have a look at week 3 and week 4. The drop-off is incredible. So again, when we look at organic users, we don't just look at likelihood of conversion and average order value. We also look at how are they going to retain and stay with us. And then one more element we want to look at is obviously, privacy and what has happened over the last couple of months. iOS 14.5, iOS 15 coming. There are a lot of changes there. So, the old question about people opting into ATT, we know that it's 85% people actually asked to not be tracked. We know that Apple now hides your email. If you subscribe to the premium service, you've got private relay, which will basically mask your IP address. So all of this makes measuring paid marketing very, very hard. So with all of this data, so apologies for all of these statistics, but I do like them, and I think they paint a very, very strong picture. I hope I've given you a good overview as to what we see as a value of an app user versus the mobile web, but also how you acquire an app user basically has a big impact on the lifetime value. So we've created our app first playbook. Let's dive into a couple of plays. So the first play that we've got is tap into your biggest traffic source. And for most companies, the biggest traffic source is the web or the mobile web. So in 2018, Nike was in trouble. They had flat sales numbers for a couple of quarters. They were losing grounds to their competitors. And in 2019, they decided to bring on a new CEO, Jon Donahoe. And he brought in a new strategy to change things and get Nike back on track. And what he focused on was a strategy of direct-to-consumer focus. So he calls it D2C. That was his main ambition. And he, for example, did things like stopped selling on Amazon and things like that. He says, our focus is directly working with the consumer. And at the same time, they obviously said, when we talk about direct-to-consumer, digital, and specifically the app, is a key part of it. But what they realized was that their customers were not very satisfied with their app experience. So here you can see an example. You land on Nike, you look at a specific product, you have the standard banner at the top that says, hey, why don't you just download the app? Which is what Nike wanted, key part of the D2C strategy. But if you do that, you land on the app homepage. You've completely disrupted my user journey. So they had lots of drop-offs, lots of complaints. It was not what they wanted. So instead, they put something together like this. And that is a much, much different experience. So you've got somebody here who searches for a specific product, comes in through search, lands on the mobile web, gets targeted with a personalized approach, a personalized banner that says, hey, would you like to continue your user journey in the app? If you say yes, you download the app, and after you download the app, you continue the journey where you've been before. So in this case, you've already got that product in your cart, you just click buy, and you're done. And that did wonders to their conversion rates, not just for gaining app users, but also conversion rates in the app. It increased their LTV, it increased their AOV, it was a huge success. And what I want to do now is just walk you through how they've actually done it. So there are a couple of steps here that they went through. The first one is that they targeted their audience. So they had a look at, okay, what different routes do we have for a customer to come to us, depending on which page they're coming from, depending on what products they've looked at on the website, depending on how many times they came back. Based on all of these criteria, they then decided, okay, for all of these different routes that I'm thinking about here in terms of personalization, I also need to create a creative that works for it. So you then build a number of creatives, right? Like a banner at the top, at the bottom, half page, whole page, you name it. And then, very important step, you start to A/B test. So the statistics are the ones that should really give you the answer. You have an idea for this specific journey of personalization. I think this is going to be a great banner to get people there. But actually, statistically, that one's better. Who knows? Until you actually do the A/B test to find out. And then, once they've tested out what works best in which scenario, they can really start stitching together the personalized experience. This is how it looks like when you're a first visitor. This is how it looks like, for example, when you've been 3 times on the website. When you look at specific products, you get a specific discount. When you look at search on, for example, the website, they'll bring you to another area in the app. And the key thing is that all of these call to actions, they actually bring you to the right place in the app. They already have discount codes applied and so on. So you don't need to click. very often. They personalize also based on geo-targeting, so language and so on is a key, but also certain designs, certain creatives will work better in certain regions. And then lastly, measure the results. What gives you the best result? And if you put all of that together, you actually get, and this is where we're at my favorite topic, we're looking at the statistics again. If you put all of this together, you actually have a very, very powerful growth engine here. Because if you look at here at the left-hand side on the x-axis here, the static conversion rate that you have with a banner, so where Nike was at the beginning, where users started to complain. If you look at that, you get a very, very low conversion rate. Always sub 1%, most of the time a lot lower. But the moment you start to personalize, look at what happens. Just with a little bit of personalization, you can more than double your conversion rate. And if you do it more and more and more, you have more than 6 times the conversion rate that you would normally have. So it's a very, very powerful growth engine. And then, hopefully, the picture is going to look something like this, where you convert more and more of your mobile web users into the app. And as we've discussed before, an app user has got a higher LTV, is likely to come back, and so on. With every conversion you make, you're adding more value to your business. So that's the first play that we went through. Just quick thoughts. Do you already have like a web to app strategy?
Curious, how do you specify personalized, like a funnel? As you say, personalized increased conversion rates, for example. So do you mean like translations or do you mean something different?
Sure. Yeah, it's a great question. So translations, language is obviously a big part of it, but it's also if you look at a specific product, let's say on Nike, if you've looked at running shoes, the creative to get you into the app will look very different, right? It will have maybe some colors that relate to running. If you look at other things like more like a design sweater, all of a sudden a very different banner will make. Or for example, you've signed up to a new product, or like you look at a page of a product that's going to come soon. The personalized banner that will come up here is like, hey, download the app of Nike and set a reminder so you get push notification when this is available. So that's what we mean by personalization. So it's not just a different language, it's really targeting that banner to where the customer is in their journey. Does that answer the question? Perfect.
Mirko, would you, with the smart banner on the website, would you differentiate on where the person actually came from to the website? Because maybe this was also paid and not organic.
Sure, absolutely. And this is actually, from our perspective, we would still refer to that as an organic user, because we can say they've come from this specific source, whether it's a blog, article, search, or even a paid campaign. And then what we will do is we'll then feed them content on the website, and at the right moment they'll move over to the app. So we're basically creating value throughout that funnel. But absolutely, it could be any source. The rules, you set the rules.
So it's possible to say only from SEO, but not from SEA.
Perfect. Yeah, exactly. You can absolutely do that. Or you can say even by product, right? Like somebody has came from a specific SEO activity for a specific product, sent them give them this specific banner and then send them to that area in the app. So absolutely. Right. So play number 2 is email to app. So another big channel. I don't know. Did you know that KFC? I just realized that when we started working with them. But KFC is the second biggest restaurant chain in the world. I didn't know that. And it's been around for almost 100 years, 93 years. I didn't know that. But it's a very interesting one because these guys have also been struggling a little bit with rivals coming into the market, with all that change in the digital ecosystem. So their traditional business model was under threat. So they put something together and thought about, okay, so how can we improve that journey for our customers? How can we do something here? And what they've come to do is basically look at the feedback that they got. So they would send us stuff like this. Hey, there's a specific offer on our prime product, like a chicken, a deep fried chicken in this case. Somebody would get the app, they would click on this offer, and there could be a loyal customer already has the app. They would always land on the mobile web. They would not be logged in. It's a poor experience. It's very low conversion. That's a big problem that they were dealing with. So instead, they built something like this. And this is a really cool complex flow that is put something that normally takes 10 clicks into only 3. So let me walk you through it. So you get the same email as before, a specific offer on a product. You click on that specific offer. You then confirm that you actually want to do that specific offer inside the app, right? So you go inside the app, you can add the product to the cart, and at that point, it automatically selects the restaurant that's closest to you based on geo-targeting. And from there on, all you need to do is check out. So it's 3 taps from the email to having the product in your cart, which for them was an incredible game changer because all of a sudden conversion rates went up, and specifically their CRM campaigns went off the chart. The big problem that they had before that as well, they had to make a choice between deep linking or click tracking. In this case, they can do both. So they get full analytics and the benefits of deep linking, where they can where they can basically transfer conversion rates, promo codes and stuff like that, all directly into the app. Again, creating a smooth user journey. Any questions? All good? Perfect. So the third one that we've got is as lean into new user behaviors, and that kind of picture obviously gives it away. But it's basically in Asia, QR codes have been very successful for a very, very long time. Now, through the pandemic, it is very commonplace here as well. So Joe and the Juice, a restaurant chain from the Nordics, is very successfully using that. So they've got that in their restaurants, they've got it on the bags, on their products, everywhere is a QR code that also has an incentive to get you into the app. Now, the cool thing is that you don't just have a great UX for scanning the QR code, getting deep linked into the right place into the app. They also measure that. So they can see, which physical asset in what store, in what region has driven what result. That's a really cool thing. And once the asset is out there, the QR code, they can change it. So for example, around Christmas time, there is a specific offer. So whenever you interact with that QR code, it can automatically apply that offer to you. So so they have a smooth UX from the physical world into the app, smooth user experience, and at the same time they can measure. So it's a very, very powerful acquisition engine for them. And the great thing is it's basically free, right? You get very loyal customers with a high intent to buy that for free. So it's an incredible growth engine that you can use. This is an example from Afterpay. I don't know if you know them. They're basically like a Klarna equivalent, but Australia-based, so on. And this is the New York Fashion Week. They did the same thing just for that one conference. They had their QR codes everywhere. And they knew exactly how that ROI of that conference impacted that, because they got thousands of views, thousands of app installs, and they knew it was because of the investment that they made into that conference with all of these QR codes. So again, a very, very powerful use case of how they leverage QR codes to get more out of their investment into their marketing effort. This is a True Money. It's like a fintech in Asia, very popular out there. And what they're doing as well is they're using these QR codes in for example, video messaging. So they do it both in TV, but also at the same time with influencers that may do something on YouTube and so on. And again, it gives them insight into a channel that they wouldn't be able to track before. So full ROI visibility and great experience for the customer. So that was play number 3. We now have play number 4 and play number 5. Any thoughts on 3, or should we go straight into 4? Let's do it. So this is a cool one. So play number 4 is all about leveraging your best brand advocates already. So people that already are using your brand, that are already advocates, but making it easy for them to use that to share the message with friends and so on. So I don't know if you know Robin Hood. a very successful fintech company based out of New York. At least that's where they started. When they started, specifically in their early rounds on investment, so I'm not talking about the Series D or like their IPO, they didn't have a huge war chest to drive growth for their apps. They did not. So they had to focus on organic strategies like these to make sure that that they get the growth that they need to attract the capital that they did in the end. So what they did here is, and this is a very clever way of using gamification and like psychology to do that. If you are a user and you're inside the app you have something that's called a share sheet. So you click on it, and inside the app, it gives you the ability to invite a friend, like you can see here, invite friends. But at the top, you can also see invite friends and get a surprise stock for free. So gamification and the ability to easily invite a friend. And it's very, very simple. You click on that invite a friend button, and it creates a link that you can then share however you want to. Like you can share it through text message, you can share it through WhatsApp, you can share it through WeChat, you can share it through email. It will always work and it will always look good. It will always have that nice little branding there, have everything there. And if then the friend clicks on it, it installs the app. It then deep links them to the right place, and it creates a personalized onboarding. So if it was me sharing it, it says, here, Mirko invited you to Robinhood. Sign up and also get a free stock. So both win. And it's quite interesting. When we started working with them, a lot of our colleagues did this, and we've had some cool feedback. Some actually got like a Facebook share and stuff like that. So it's a very cool gamification, because once you've invited a friend, the friend's happy because they got something. You're happy. You're going to continue to do it. So it's an engine to drive viral growth, and that's where obviously that link was such a key part of it. And there's full attribution throughout the whole journey as well, which is very, very cool. Another thing is this is Revolut. So this is like a European based kind of fintech. They've very recently partnered with Anthony Joshua, the heavyweight boxer. So like it's got a huge influencer following, like 2 million people. And what they've done is they've created a joint offering where they say, we have the AJ card, Anthony Joshua card. If you use that card with Revolut, it automatically donates a small amount to grassroots boxing studios across the area. But at the same time, that link that he shares here creates that instant link to that influencer campaign. So when Antonio Joshua says, "Hey, I'm partnering with Revolut. It's for a good cause. We've created this cool new card." If you click on that link, it downloads the Revolut app, but it gets you directly to the specific card that you're talking about, and you can even personalize it. So again, viral growth with the help of an influencer. Strava, another cool example that we're working with. They also benefit hugely. So that's the fitness app for cycling and running, if you're not aware. They've also benefited hugely from organic growth through referral. Same thing, it creates a sharing link. Once you've done your run or your cycle, you're very proud of your achievement, you want to share it with your friends, you click on it, it creates that link, and you can see it's always custom branded to the run that you've done, where it doesn't matter how you share it. And then you can see and have a look at that there as how friends perceive it. When they click on it, again, deep link into the app. So a very, very cool growth strategy. This one is an interesting one for Starbucks. And to be honest, this is a little bit of an edge case, but I wanted to bring it up anyway because I thought it'd be quite interesting. This is for a specific case where somebody is using the privacy features of Apple. So a premium user who is subscribed to Private Relay. If they have subscribed to Private Relay, they always have that Apple firewall in front of them, so you don't know their IP address. So if you don't know their IP address, it is very, very hard to do any personalization. But with this, you can still do it. So we call this native link. It's one of the technologies that we've developed. In this case, for example, hey, try the app next time to check out our amazing hot vanilla latte, as an example. You click on there, you land on this page where you can say, hey, actually, I want to get the app and I want to get the personalized experience. So you click on get the app. If you click on get the app without copying, you won't get that personalized experience. But in this case, you say, get the app, which most people do because it's the number one option that you get. You get the app, you download it, and what you can see here is you land, again, directly in your basket with the right product already selected, even though you use private relay. So more of an edge case, but just to show you that the good news in general is with all of this iOS 14.5 and 15 is that it doesn't affect organic acquisition in most cases. So that's, again, a very powerful thing. And to round up the display, influencers is also a very important element of it that you can leverage. So you can give your influencers a branch-powered link. In this case, it's an example from Boohoo, the fashion app, where an influencer does something, they share a story. Once you click on that specific link, the influencer obviously gets the benefit, but also you get deep linked into your app to the right product so that you can then convert. And everybody wins. The influencer wins because the easier it is to convert, the higher the conversion rate for the influencer. So they win because they are obviously most of the time get their remuneration based on the conversion. The brand is happy because it's higher conversion rates, which is great. And at the end, you obviously have through the SDK whole attribution. So even if you use like a network, it's all fully integrated. So a powerful use case. And that rounds up the play number 4. And the last one is basically beat the desktop to app trap. So I know that desktop traffic, we don't have much of it. It's been declining for a long time now. It's kind of steady. It's most of us when we're at work, maybe in between, when we have a lunch break and stuff like that. But still, it can be a channel for growth. And a lot of people don't really use it, which we think is a missed trick. So you can place a QR code like Nike are doing here on this. That's a specific QR code to that area. You scan it, you get directed to that specific area in the app. The cool thing is that you can even create a QR code like this on the fly. So if you're doing something very specific on the website, if you do a certain process, you can programmatically create the QR code right there and then you can continue your work in the app. That's also a possibility. So there's a lot of cool stuff you can do with QR codes on the desktop. This is another example how you can do it with the Shopify setup. You can also do the text me the app, but we see now that the text me the app is kind of going away and QR codes is really what people are preferred to use with. Just a quick summary of the growth playbook and where does Branch fit in. So as I said before, we work with 75,000 apps. Branch specifically is an enterprise linking platform. Think about it that way. So Branch links will be in all of these different places for you. Search, email, social, also ads, web, QR codes, all of these cool use cases that we talked about. They'll provide a better experience into the app by deep linking and so on. But at the same time, once people start using those links, they will also give you the attribution data that you need to further optimize. So that's how it looks like in a summary. We do have some one-page summaries for you. If you want to, you can pick some up. And last but not least, what I wanted to ask you specifically after what we've talked about is, what acquisition tactics of all the ones that we went through are the ones that you think would be most strategic to you and your organizations?
Definitely A.
Cool.
And because we have this TV channel, I think the QR codes could be interesting.
Yeah.
So if a host presents this and we show it and the host talks about the app, I think C could be also interesting. And I like the idea with the desktop. So is this basically also a smart banner?
It's actually just it's a QR code. It's basically a QR code that you can create programmatically. So yeah.
So actually, because for QVC, the mobile share is not yet 50-50.
Okay.
It is still a bit lower.
Yeah.
Just because of the audience, the target group is a little bit older, and some don't even have a phone. So That's why I think like A and C is definitely something we have to do. A and E, and C is with the TV channel. So I think this is also something we will do.
Yeah, I think it's a great summary, and we hear that a lot. That number A, that's why we put it A. That's what people want, because it's also the biggest. It's the biggest size, right, of opportunity. What are your thoughts, Karina and Pierre?
Well, for us, email marketing is a big
Yeah,
thing. So
yeah,
we
sure.
convert users by emails quite a lot. QR codes, we try it only on public campaigns on the streets for people to scan them. I'm not sure if it converts well actually, so I'm not sure if I will be working to that in the future. What I want to really pay attention now is mobile web to app. I think it's a big, because we generate a lot of traffic from web traffic.
Yeah.
So it will be interesting to experiment with that flow and see how it will work.
Cool. Yeah, for sure, Pierre.
So because our site does not necessarily do e-commerce, but I do think that email to app is a really good one, because we do like a lot of things like that in terms of like newsletters and stuff to attract more users. But I personally also really like the social sharing to app format, because, and this is just regardless of what I'm doing, but in general, I think that's really cool, because to think about popular networks such as Instagram, it's all about really sharing images. I mean, that's all that we're doing nowadays. We love taking photos and sending it to our friends, or videos, and I think that's a really cool idea to actually, like how most of Strava, I think that you can take your own images and then refer to a friend, oh hey, you can use this app as well. And I think that is
Exactly. Yeah.
those are really interesting ones, and I'm going to keep in mind, because I think that has a lot of potential. In my opinion, it's a lot more personalized than a lot of the other formats. So I think that was really interesting.
Thank you. Yeah, and I totally agree with you. Personalization is always key, right? Personalization and ease, right? If we can remove the number of clicks, it's a winner for sure.
Also, to be honest, sometimes if like regular apps would ask you, oh, you can refer this to a friend, and it would always, I would really, I mean, honestly, sometimes avoid it. But then I think if it's like giving me the opportunity to actually take my own photos of the experience, and then it's even more of just sending images to friends, saying, just kind of sharing my experience, and that's a very clever way of referring. And then potentially acquiring more users. So I think, yeah, it's a good method.
Yeah, thank you. I think it's, I couldn't, like, the data that we see, it basically supports that 100%. So yeah, excellent. So that's basically been it, right? So, as I said before, we had a simple and ambitious goal. We want to make it easier for you to use owned and organic channels to help you achieve your goals. Please do, like that QR code, we'll send you the mobile growth playbook, so you have it for when you need it. Yeah, I think at this point in time, I think we've done very well in terms of time, so we can ask questions. What I have done is we have brought some nice branch goodies, so you can have a hoodie and all of those kind of things. And what I think we'll do is we'll close the presentation with the video, and then we can do a nice chat afterwards for the last 10 minutes, if that's okay. But I just want to say on behalf of Branch, thank you very much for joining.